Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcasts.
How's it going, everyone? I hope Halloween was fun for you, or Dias de los Muertos, or whatever holidays you've been celebrating, or if you've just been chilling at home, that's cool
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it
I
was
mean,
so good that it scared Ryan into the staircase.
I know, like there was like this little creature underneath my bed, and yeah, I believe my apartment is haunted. Um, Anywho, yeah, I'm in here because like right now we're busy artist people, and so like
Mhm,
sometimes we kind of have to like move things around to get things done.
mhm.
And the best artists, they make do with what they have. So I'm just in my apartment stairwell recording.
Yeah. Ryan's gonna rough this in the stairwell. Maybe there'll be some special guest appearances that will stop by. we
I'm
can
not
ask
sure how
them
much
about
they'll
about what they
appreciate.
thought.
I'm not sure how much they'll appreciate being filmed and also
Yeah,
appreciate our channel. They should.
yeah.
Um, but so this episode, I want to say it first. It should have been, it's a little bit of thing of like, I get why it's like this, but they should have just hopped it on to last episode.
This literally was the last half of an episode of Survivor, and they gave us the
Yeah.
first half for an episode. Like they literally did that. Like I felt at certain points that like wow, they didn't need to make it this long, but they're really like drawing it out to make it try to feel like a
No,
full episode. It just no, it's
no.
especially with the results of how it became a live tribal. Like all of the planning and forethought kind of got thrown out the window anyways. So like, why not just
Yeah.
combine this into one?
And I mean, we'll get to that later, but yeah, I definitely, because was checking the time and stuff, and I was like, oh, we're 30 minutes in, and they haven't gotten tribal. I'm like, I guess this isn't going to be a double elimination episode. I mean, it should have been like, even if they wanted to do like a 2 hour special of like this last week, I would have been totally fine with it.
Yeah.
I
I
would have
think it would
watched.
have benefited the season so much because fans are furious after that last episode. Like people were really upset with what Survivor is doing with this thing. But I think if you would have given us this episode with it, I think
It would,
people would have been totally fine.
yeah. Which I mean, in future watching, they won't care. But
Yeah.
that being said, for the first time in like years, we had a recap at the beginning of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at this. I drew the little oh my gosh emoji. Yes, I take notes in emojis sometimes.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. But I think I'm hoping that production is just listening to the outcry of fans of the season of and for the seasons of prior, saying, "Hey, why are you taking away every element of Survivor and
I
replacing
mean,
it with something else?"
with how much their viewers have been dropping, because this has been something I've been hearing. I haven't been looking too much into numbers, but like
Yeah.
they know they gotta like change something. I mean, obviously the only thing they can do is like change it in post. And you know, yeah, that was a mistake. So like they'll learn from it, move forward, all that. But
Mhm.
I think this helped clarify what has to be do or what advantages everyone has going into the episode.
Mhm.
Because a little shout out to Russell Hands, but like he made a little like response thing to like last week's episode,
Mhm.
and he had no idea what was going on. Now, the granted, he wasn't catching up on it,
Mhm.
but with that being aside, like he had no idea who had what, anything like that. And I
Yeah.
guess in the sense of like some people do come on into a season right in the middle of it. I'm someone who it was um each time I watched a season before I actually got committed to the show, it was like a random episode.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit hard to like follow if you want to be like a new Survivor fan and you just stumble upon it. So having a recapping here definitely I felt was beneficial. Then
Mhm.
again, like I think about Survivor all the time, so I'm already kind of in the know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if we necessarily need recaps every episode, but I do think that we should have recaps like every 2 or 3 episodes, just so that way it is kind of like here this is the important stuff that's going to fuel this next few episodes.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a useful tool,
Mhm.
because like other shows do it all the time, like,
Yeah.
especially, well, granted, for like ones that have like seasons that build upon seasons and seasons, like let's say something like Game of Thrones, where it'll flashback to like characters that are long dead and gone.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but it was like a nice little thing. It was like, oh my gosh, like it was
Yeah.
so out of the ordinary. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did kind of
But
like it, but
mhm.
the thing is, the weight, like we all kind of knew the logical decision that
Yeah.
Erica was going to make.
It
I'm
was
like,
so obvious. I no joke. If you go back to last week, I call exactly what happens in the outcome of this episode. I'm literally like, if Erica smashes it, Sydney goes home. If she doesn't smash it, she goes home. And I'm pretty sure that those were going to be the options. So that is one thing. Even though there was a craziness that it seemed like, those were kind of like, in my eyes, the obvious choices. Given what we know.
I mean, everyone, well, I mean, because after the challenge, which, all right, so when they revealed what they did, I like Deshaun's attitude towards it, but it's like, in the sense of like, oh, that's the game and that's the twist and stuff like that, and you just kind of roll with it because that's what production
Yeah.
decide. But me, I'm someone that, and you've kind of helped me with this, looks beyond the edit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And only one of them said anything. Everyone else looked. Ricardo was like, "What?" And I mean, after the challenge, Danny was very, very vocal about it.
Yeah.
But it's still one of those things where it's like, like
Yeah.
I don't even blame Sydney for being bitter for being voted
No.
off. I was like, yeah, I'm not. I don't care if it's
Yeah,
immature. Like I
I think this is the most screwed a Survivor contestant has been in at least a very, very long time, because this was like,
I
Sydney does nothing wrong
really,
in the entire episode. She doesn't do anything in the game wrong in the game. She wins every team challenge in the pre-merge.
I really, I have to like really think back. Something that's within the game, not something
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
the
because you
game.
cannot
Like,
like her as a person, but that's fine. But like, in terms of gameplay, she has
no, I mean in
done.
the sense of like being screwed over. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
it's like a twist or something, I
Hmm.
can't really think of some outside the
Yeah,
game. Like if your alliance member gets
yeah,
like, evacuated, or you get evacuated,
yeah.
or some
Well,
outside thing
and
like
this
that.
is
But
something that I think this season's lacking, is there's just no real reason why some people are going home in these episodes, and they're not like they're not showing us that. Like, even when someone gets screwed, it's because we get to kind of see all these different things going on, and you're like, oh, that's the only conclusion has to be
well,
this, and you're
I
like,
think because
okay.
well, I think because the reason no, I mean there are reasons why people went home. Like JD, he was messing up way too
Yeah,
much.
JD makes sense, but I like, specifically,
Brad was being a little
Voce
too
goes home.
risque.
Voce goes home because Tiffany doesn't understand how Xander's idol works.
Well, I
Like,
mean, kind of, but at the end of the day, I feel like getting rid of Voce was the smartest move at that time. And it benefited them because they didn't lose a challenge since
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean that's true, but what I'm talking about is it was very unfair for Voce that his game relied on someone who didn't know how the rule of a vote works.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like the term "it is what it is," but it's something
Mhm.
where I don't know. I guess I didn't have too much stock in Boche, so
Yeah.
I'm not like too butthurt
Mhm.
about it. In this, but anyhow, speaking of Xander's idol, I gotta admit the fact that because like everyone kind of knew what advantages everyone had, and
Mhm.
the fact that Leanna still fell for it, because
Yeah.
he was hamming it up before long. He was hamming up way more than, like, I'm like, she's gonna call the bluff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because
I was
all
waiting
right,
for it the entire time. I was just like, okay, here it comes. He clearly he does not have the real idol. No way that is real. Even when he kind of showed it, it looked kind of off to me because
well, I mean,
we've seen the
sometimes they do
idol.
look, well, I mean, especially more recent seasons, they've
Mhm.
had made them a bit more small and a
Yeah.
bit more shitty looking,
Yeah.
because fake idols are such a useful tool, and better for it's easier to make a fake idol when they're
Mhm.
easier to fake in
Yeah.
general. But um I think it was more so of like just doing that and showing it there
Mhm.
in front of her made it be like, because I don't know if she opened up the package with the idol in it or anything like that, but it was like, it was more so of like, all right, it's there, it's there.
Mhm.
I actually, while I was watching this, I was like, the smart move is to give it to Tiffany, because no one's gonna
Yeah.
expect that.
I agree. I think
Um,
that the worst is just keep it on Xander. Evie can work, it could still work, but then she might have just played it anyways, just to
lowers,
guarantee herself.
yeah, I
And
would
then
say,
Tiffany
yeah,
has no
definitely.
stake in the game, so yeah, give it to her.
And I mean, that whole thing, like, I'm just gonna say it now. Xander wins this week, maybe this season,
Oh
with
yeah.
like like, this man handled it so well,
Mhm.
and like, he did not necessarily panic.
Yeah.
Um,
This
like
was
he was
a
very,
great
very
move.
like confident.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
what?
This was a great move all around from Xander and Evie. We got to give credit to them especially because they were the ones that I think had a lot of the orchestration behind a lot of this in terms of plan up and setting up and
Yeah,
getting
I
Liana
mean,
to really buy hook line and sinker that it's
I was
Xander.
like, they were being so hammy with it too. But then
Yeah,
again, there can be a thing of like being so hammy that it's obvious that
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
obvious.
And
But
yeah, I mean this move right here, this episode, I think has shot Liana's game for the rest of the season. I think she has zero chance of winning now. She like her biggest advocates on the one of her two biggest advocates if she got to the end is Evie and Chantel, and I think she's just ruined her chances with Evie wanting to like say why Liana should win the season. I think all of that is ruined. That relationship is shot.
yeah, I mean, they're in the minority, so I'm
Mhm.
not quite sure how much. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, so many different things can happen, and we
Yeah.
really don't know what
I
to
mean, if you
expect
saw
these days.
the
But
next
like,
time on Survivor, like every name is going to get thrown out at this next tribal. Like it's like,
so
so yeah.
Danny's. That's one thing that I did find very interesting about this episode. Everyone else's name came up, but not Danny's.
Yeah, I still think Danny has a winner edit like happening to him. It's just everyone is not going to believe it because he does not look like he should be a winner. Like his type does not usually win the big athletes that you kind of comes on there and you expect them to win a bunch of challenges.
Yeah, it is a little bit tricky.
Mhm.
That's another thing I wanted to bring up too. Like, it was kind of funny how everyone that was participating in this challenge was on point. Like,
Mhm.
it,
Yeah, well,
it
this
was,
was the best people in challenges except for Xander. Xander was the only one who was like really good. And I guess Chantel to an extent as well. But this was like the best challenge performers.
I know, which was kind of like the best thing about the challenge, but also the
Yeah,
saddest thing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, which also made it like cool to watch, because
mm,
there was no blowout. It was like neck and neck, and then
yeah,
Ricard comes out of nowhere and is like,
yeah,
wha-bam with the
yeah.
flag.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they chose that kind of challenge and not like a big obstacle course where you kind of assume a physical person is going to win that kind of thing because
Okay,
otherwise, then like, yeah, Danny's probably winning that.
the only reason I don't like this challenge It's because I don't like feet. So no, it's a legit thing where it's like I don't like feet. So like, this challenge, obviously, I'm rooting for someone, but looking at people's feet, it's like I'd rather watch them eat bugs.
Yeah.
I know Survivor is not necessarily the best thing if you have like feet issues to watch, but like, I watch it for, the story and the blind sides and all that
Yeah.
jazz. Not anyhow.
Yeah. You're
But
not
yeah,
into
I
that
think like
Survivor feats life. You don't go on Instagram and look up Survivor feats and find the
no, you go on a special website for that. That I'm sure exists somewhere. But
Yeah. I don't know exactly what kind of survivors you're gonna find in there, but
they're typically a fan.
yeah.
Anywho, that aside, yeah. Well, I mean, what else is there? Sid played her shot in the dark, which I mean, like, I don't really blame her because at
Yeah.
this point, like, she was a part of she didn't really, her vote at that point didn't really matter.
No, it did matter because if she had voted for Evie, because I know she was sitting like close to Evie and that stuff, but I still think she probably votes Evie. She even says like that she shouldn't have played her shot in the dark because she was going to vote for Evie otherwise. Like as she's leaving, she like makes that kind of like connection. So if she votes Evie, it becomes a 5-5-3 tie. They vote again. Evie doesn't have an idol anymore. Or two, yeah. Yeah, because Deshaun placed his extra vote this tribal.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I saw, and I saw that he kind of did waste it on Evie.
Yeah, he got scared and just played it. So yeah, if Sydney didn't play her shot in the dark, she potentially makes Evie go home instead, which yet again would even be more screwed, I think. Like it somehow becomes more screwed than Evie going home in Sydney.
I mean, with this twist, if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, I think Sid was a very interesting contestant. However, I think I would have been a bit more upset if Evie was the one that went home because of this whole twist, as opposed to Sid. Sid has a lot of potential, and could she ever come back?
Yeah,
I mean, know.
It's hard to say because I know that there's a lot of people who hate her on social media and stuff. Like they followed her and they hate her now. So I wonder if they'll take that. Like I don't know if she would win a second chance ballots because of that. Like if they were to do something like that. I will say though, because we're now at the merge, we can now kind of also assess our pre-merge boots a little bit because I think if we were to do a pre-merge season, we have a lot of people this season that I think could come back.
I feel JD. I feel definitely. I feel what's their fit? I feel Jamie could definitely come back. A lot of the UAs because
and then obviously Sydney I think could be on there as well. And I would put Voce too, to be honest. Like if they want to have a really early boot, I think he would be a great one to bring back.
Maybe I don't know about Voce. I feel like show me the list or show me like the seasons you're looking at, and then I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I would have to see their qualifications.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that there's a lot of people that I think are great candidates from the season that I think are going to be put into that pool of people for a pre-merge season if they ever did that.
Or, like sometimes, they're like, oh, this one person that was in this, sometimes they, do that. Hell, even in like all-star seasons, like big all-star seasons, they've done that before.
I think if you do a pre-merge season, I think you need a little spectrum of everyone. Like you need some people who are one of the first 2 people gone. You need some people who are like 3 to 5, and then some that just mix that. Francesca needs to come back.
Iconic pre-merge boot.
Yeah. You should and they should bring 21 people for this and then say, Francesca, you get to survive the first boots. you get an idol for this tribal.
I feel no, mostly because like then it's a give me, and I feel
Yeah,
like Francesca would want to earn it.
yeah.
I feel like it would have been a little
Yeah.
condescending,
Yeah, well,
but
I think that would be a funny idea though. Like, not like giving it, but you know how like in Micronesia they had the idols that you had to get to, and then you could play out your first try. Well, like
yeah.
that'd be great if they introduced one of those to see just a bunch
Well,
of these people.
I feel like it's something where it has to be like that, where they have to like hunt for it, as opposed
Yeah,
to it's a
yeah,
gimme. But
yeah. Well, yeah, just like they're trying to get supplies and then gets their boats, and then they realize that the idol is like perched on the thing or something, and they're like, oh no, and now I can get this.
yeah,
Mhm.
um, we'll see, we'll see. So yeah, I mean, we are technically now officially in the merge, not mergatory, we're in the merge.
Yeah.
So it's curious to see how things are going to follow suit. Now, on the plus side of it, granted, it did kind of like, stretch out, but we did get a lot more strategy this time around.
Mhm.
Um, things moving forward, because definitely um, the Yasa minus Liana, they are on the bottom, and it's gonna be curious to see like where they're gonna go from there. They still have their
Mhm.
idol because of Xander was like chilling, and then Tiffany, nodding along, being like, "Okay, I trust you. It's your idol,"
Yeah.
um, which was very good on her, especially the composure thing, because she didn't keep her composure last tribal council she was at.
Mhm.
Um, so a little growth there, and I feel like this has to be said because I know like this advantage seemed broken, but Liana's advantage in general. I think like when we think of how obvious everything was,
Mhm.
it just had I wouldn't say the illusion, it just seemed like broken because
Yeah.
like, oh, everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is one of the things that kind of make that kind of like goes back and kind of makes it better in the long run because now you
Mhm.
know like the full story of how something that seemed like
Yeah.
so simple actually can go wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think the power was still super overpowered. It was just I think Liana was dying to use it and make a big play like at this kind of merge area. Like she thought this would be because everyone's there. This is the first
not
time
only
everyone
that,
gets to be there. So she
not
wanted
only
to.
that, there's like one thing that it's a small thing I kind of like wrote down. I might have skipped it, but like I think it has to be stressed. We are officially over halfway through. Like that
Yeah,
was day 14, night
14.
14.
Yeah, we got 12 days left in their game.
I know. There's 11 people. Now, there is one thing I want to bring up, but like closer to later. But what else were you saying about Liana?
Yeah, I'm just I think she was just so like mesmerized by the idea of this is the first tribal with everyone, so try to make a big impression. So make a big play, make everyone see that you're a game player, which I think is terrible. I think in Liana's position, you do not want to be the first one to take out an ally. Like going into the situation, you never want to be that first person. That first person will not
No.
win the game. You are basically deciding at the beginning to be public enemy number one by a large section or a potentially large section of the tribe, which is not what you want to
Yeah.
do when you still have I guess only 12 days. So maybe this new shorter game just won't call for that.
I think it's also a thing too, like the best way to get a target off your back is to, if everyone knows you have an advantage, is to use the advantage right
Mhm.
away. And pretty much everyone did, especially the people, she was targeting. So I
Mhm.
think in her head, it definitely was like the pressure is I have to use it now.
Mhm.
Um, especially like, in this state of the game, because like granted, they didn't say whether or not, the 12th person going out would be part of the jury prior. Abby even brought that up, where it was like, please play it because I don't know if I'm going to make jury.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't pull the switch and have the jury member be for
Part of me
here.
thinks it could be a potential. I don't know. They would have to do like 2 episodes of double elimination, but I'm still thinking maybe there is a final 2. There's what, 5 episodes left before the finale.
Mhm.
That means 5 people, like minimum 5 people get eliminated, and then that's the final 6. However, if there's a double elimination, then that's 5, and if it's like the regular thing, there could be 3 challenges and then 2 left. Now, is it a bit of a stretch? Yes, but also no. Because with the season not to expect anything, that would be one other big thing to do, is a final 2.
Watch them be like, you know what? Let's go the other way. Final 4.
8.
Yeah, final 8. Final 11. We're at the end. We just watch them. We just watch a bunch of camp life scenes for
No,
8.
here's what's gonna happen. When they get to 9, the last person voted out gets an hourglass.
And you can restart the entire game.
No, everyone voted out is now in the game, and everyone that
Yeah, we keep doing this until someone's happy. How many times are we restarting the game?
That was it's an appropriate joke.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I agree.
It's all the love to like Survivor and everything, but like,
yeah. Well, it's real. The reason why it's a joke is that they gave all of this power, and so to one person, and the other people have they did everything right. Like, it's not like they did something wrong. They did everything right.
I mean, like, it's just like, even if it was Nasir would have broken anyway. It's just like, there was no win scenario for this. It was basically
you know, I was thinking about this today earlier about another way to fix this twist, and that would be, if you do break it, what you're actually doing is basically going back in time. Still, you're still potentially going back, but now you're choosing you'll basically be deciding a game kind of thing for that tribe to do, and they have to either successfully complete it or not do it. But they don't know that they don't know like the game ahead of time. They have to like choose one person to like represent the group, and so they have to decide who they think is best. And then it can be like a puzzle, a mental thing. It can be a physical challenge. It can be an endurance thing. But
I feel like it just shouldn't have really been that. At the very least, it should have been like, you can, it was like, you get to choose who gets an advantage in the next challenge. I mean, with this, whatever it is, or you get, if you give it to someone else, you also get a nullifier. Still a little broken, but at the same time, like, not as
well, the only reason I was suggesting that is because if they fail, then there's a chance that it backfires on them, so that way the person smashing the glass might not want to smash that glass, because then potentially this guy is gonna, like, I imagine they'd probably choose like a Danny or something, and as long as it, and that's another thing, like, it now adds a new layer of what challenge Erica would want to give. You probably don't want to do the physical one because they're probably going to choose like a Danny. So you're probably going to go more of a mental thing, but there's also a lot of good puzzle makers on that tribe, or that team too. So I just think that we needed some reason for Erica to say no.
It was just like, because nothing really happened. They even in like the recap, it was like there was really like there was no benefit in not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell that everyone didn't even blame Erica for doing it. It's like everyone's like, yeah, that makes like, of course you're gonna do it. Like,
if anything, I would vote her out if she didn't, because I'm like, why?
Yeah. Yeah, like survivors love when someone looks stupid in an episode, and that's like the perfect fuel to give that
Any
for a
reason,
season.
any reason, any
Yeah.
reason is a good reason.
Yeah. As I said, I think
Um,
Erica goes home if she doesn't do it, and I guess Sydney would go home if she did. So we got the outcome that I figured was going to happen.
yeah. That being said, as for the yeah, she played her shot in the dark. She was the first one to do it.
Mhm.
They did increase the number to 12. It's still the same odds. So I am wondering
Yeah,
if multiple people do it, if it doesn't get replenished.
yeah.
Eh, Because like it's still the same odds.
Mhm.
So maybe we'll get more clarification
No
next
idea.
episode.
It was very underwhelming for me how they have decided to do the shot in the dark. Like I knew that it was seemed like it was going to be underwhelming, and it was. She just pulls out a paper and then reads it. It's like, man, like you want so bad for those dice when they had this whole build up about using dice at the beginning, and
Well, I mean, like, I think it's because it wasn't. I think because it wasn't, beneficial. I feel like if it happens again, which it very well could, and someone plays it, and it's like something really, really huge that totally, like, like switches up the game, something crazy, and
Mhm.
it gets someone massively big out, then I feel like it's something that's like, oh, okay, so this is how. Because like from what I've understand with these advantages they've been giving out for the most part, it's like you might have to wait a few episodes to reap the benefits of it or to really get that like
uh-huh,
payoff.
uh-huh. Maybe. I don't know. I yeah, at least the 50-50 coin, like you get to flip a coin. Like there's at least like a little thing that
A
goes in there and it's
chance.
like it has some theatrics to it. Like going
Yeah.
into it, whereas this has no theatrics. Like an idle play can have theatrics because you get to know everyone gets to kind of stand up and everything, but this is still just kind of just like, hey, let me read this piece of paper now and see what
Maybe. I think
happens.
it could be, I think it might have to be situated. I'm not discounting it just yet, but I feel like this was not like the
Yeah.
best example of it.
Yeah,
Like
I
for
mean, we're
its
gonna
to
see it.
be,
I think we're seeing it in 43. I'm pretty sure that we're seeing a lot of the stuff that they're going to use again. Like I can really see that this is trying to be a core mechanic that they try to like make going forward. And so I don't think it necessarily panned out, but I feel like they probably did it again just to see if it still will.
I don't know. Let's get through this season because it's like we still don't, because it is kind of what I've said in the past where sometimes you need the full picture.
Mhm.
So until we see the full picture, it's hard to say what really comes back because I do feel, yeah, public perception plays into it in a sense.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's something where, like, I feel like it's a nice little added. It does add like a layer of strategy to it,
Mhm.
and then it's like it's something where I'm like, I could take or leave it.
Mhm.
It's like one of those things. I can take or leave this.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that I think people are going to be discouraged honestly after seeing Sydney do it. So I think the fact that they now saw someone kind of get costs their game
Game.
from it, I think it's going to be in the back of their minds that that's like a very real possibility.
I feel like they have to be like really, really their back
Yeah.
to the corner. Like,
Yeah, it's got to be one of those scenarios like a Rick Devens where like everyone knows they're going for this Rick Devens type. Like you just know that of course they're going to be voting for him. But I think because of the shot in the dark advantage, is the fact that everyone knows makes it so that way they don't have that happen. They want they're going to do everything they can to make sure that someone doesn't feel outside, like an outsider.
Yeah, I think that is something that's good. It does breathe. I feel like it's like
Mhm.
it helps, but not in the way they may have intended.
Yeah. They didn't realize the ripple effects it had on the game when they implemented it. They thought that, ooh, this will be a cool thing that might have this cool thing that saves like a big character or something. Like it's going to be kind of a Hail Mary out of nowhere kind of situation. But just like the game changers thing with the purple rocks, I think the fact that
Yeah.
you tell them at the beginning, they're just going to play differently, knowing that now. Like they're just going to make sure that someone doesn't know.
Yeah, because new rules establish a meta,
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
new like little things. Like I
Yeah.
remember for any of you that played Yu-Gi-Oh, I remember like I was like seeing what the new Yu-Gi-Oh was like, and like tribute summoning is something that rarely happens.
Yeah.
Trap cards, you have like maybe two or three in your deck, and these were like staples way back
Yeah.
when. Now it's just like it's like a very, very specific, you know, game style you're playing if you're using any of those things.
Yeah, a couple years
Um,
back, I tried to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh, and there's so like I hopped into this online thing, and there's so much going on with the other people that I was like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like they're just like moving through like everything, and suddenly they have like a 4,000 attack monster, and it's only turn one, and I'm like, what is happening?
yeah, yeah. And I feel like, because I get where Survivor is coming from. They want to build on what they have and make it new and exciting, but at the same time, like, they want it to be new. They want it to be crazy because we do like crazy on Survivor. It's
Yeah.
just like maybe they're trying a little too much.
Yeah, well, I like crazy when it's the castaways that have created the craziness. I don't like it when production's the ones trying to create the craziness because
Well, I mean,
usually it just doesn't work. Like they're
well, I
trying to
mean,
make people feel
things
things
like
that,
things like a nullifier, or things like Island of the Idols. Like because I do like that premise where it was like, oh, every game you're playing, it could either benefit you or it cannot benefit you. Or like things like that. Or I don't even mind the whole prisoner's dilemma thing here. I do feel like this one is more so something I can take or leave. Like it doesn't feel like it feels like it doesn't feel like a actual thing of Survivor. It's more like something
yeah,
they adopted for this season as opposed to like a Survivor staple.
agreed.
Um,
Yeah,
but like I don't know. I think like maybe ooh, we have to see the full picture, and then 42 might have similarities. 43, I feel like they're already really thinking about what they really want to do with that.
yeah,
Because, while they're still casting it, they're still, like looking at their ratings, looking at what people are saying online. Now, granted, like, don't always bend the knee to every little
yeah.
comment you see, but at the same time, it is
Mhm.
important to kind of like see what your audience likes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they knew going into the season that they had a bunch of ideas people are going to hate. So like I just feel like at every turn it seems like they keep kind of coming into that and then they'll try to cover up something. Like I think when we saw Danny getting upset, we don't really hear a confessional from him explaining it. Like we hear it then from Deshaun saying, no, it's an all new game. This Jeff is trying to change things up. Like we're hearing him say stuff like that as
Well, I mean,
the counter to it.
I think they are kind of listening because the game within the game. Didn't see anything for it for this episode or the one prior.
Oh yeah, you didn't see the thing up here?
No,
Oh yeah, they did it this time, not in the challenge, but going into tribal.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's a blinker, you miss it. It seemed like they were spoon feeding it to us at first, but it really is a blinker, you miss it thing.
Well, I appreciate the blinker. See, that is, kind of like, oh, it doesn't take away. I feel that's
Yeah,
kind of cool
yeah,
now because it's like it always like took me out of it. Like during a challenge, like,
Yeah.
get to the fucking
Yeah,
action.
well, and also I think it's better not to do it in a challenge. I think going into tribal makes way more sense because, first off, a lot of people might not be looking at a little square that's appears for a second. They do have like a music track that goes with it. I noticed they have the same kind of like thing that almost like when the tribe's coming in or whatever. They have like this little thing that happens right there. So I've started to notice that. But I also want to point out though, Sydney, according to our Brant Steele, this is the closest prediction we've had to being correct.
Yeah, I mean, also on my because I have my own personal list, and I had her at round 12 or 11, so I'm about to like check right now.
Yeah,
And you know
yeah.
that this is legit because I have a bunch of other notes I've written in the past. So like
Mhm,
this is not something I just like made up.
mhm.
Where is it? No, I had Tiffany at 12. I had Sydney at 11. So yeah, that was kind
Mhm.
of like my low prediction.
Yeah,
Who have I
yeah,
gotten
and,
that
and
was like
also just our Brant Steele that we actually did for our channel. Sydney was the last pre-merge boots.
hmm, interesting.
So
Oh, the closest I have was Boche, but that's just because like
mhm,
actually no, because that whole 1817 thing.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, so far Sydney is the closest.
Interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. I have the Brand Steel pulled up actually that we did, and our pre-merge was JD, Erica, Xander, Tiffany, Deshaun, and Sydney, with Eric being the merge boot that doesn't get jury favor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Most of those are people who I think have a longer stay in the game.
I mean, Branson, I mean, another like small thing, obviously we knew going into it, but like Jeff was like, a lot of people, it's their first time at tribal. Another thing our Brant Steele predicted was a large amount of people, not eight, but
Yeah.
still six.
That's
That's like,
six. I mean, like for a three tribe season, that's still pretty crazy.
yeah, yeah. Um, Also, granted, it was more so the simulation. No, actually, that one did have a stripe
Yeah, yeah,
swap,
yeah, yeah. It had
but
a swap, but I mean,
or
it was just one tribe went to every tribal. It went to one tribe went to six tribals in a row.
yeah, or usually like there wasn't because usually if they start with three, they usually end up in two at some point.
Yeah,
Like seldom does it ever really go three into the merge unless it divides into three.
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
But
Um,
yeah, I think we pretty much covered anything. I think
yeah.
the only thing that is in the back of my head is I feel like Liana gets, LVP.
She gets LVP. Yeah, it's I think when you have one of the most powerful advantages that Survivor has
And
implemented.
and I'm like, I couldn't help but be like, they were so obvious with it.
Yeah, yeah, it was. They really should have just if Leona was able to just not do anything, like it would have been hilarious to see everyone's reaction to that.
Like
To
I
what
was half
happened. Yeah.
like I'm half surprised there wasn't like the Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness like winking me put in
Uh,
by the editor. Like,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
so I did
But
like his savage moment. Xander was like, well, I don't have a real idol. You can have this fake
fake
one.
one. Yeah, that was so great. That was
I like the little
I hope
sauce.
Xander keeps these theatrics at Tribal because I like when someone has some theatrics with their stuff.
I definitely think Xander, he's gonna be. I feel like he's gonna be kind of like that, Ozzy
Yeah,
or Malcolm kind of like
yeah.
type that like the
I
long
yeah,
haired guy that's likable, that's gonna be keep coming back. He
yeah.
has that like archetype.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd say more so
I think he's a
Malcolm
lot like
because
Dean, honestly. Like Dean had that same almost kind of vibe where he was kind of like looked like he was kind of supposed to be easygoing and was like, bro, like here we are, but he actually like knew the game and is actually a very intelligent person that you just don't realize it until it's too
fair
late.
comparison. I
Yeah,
guess the long hair is what
yeah,
got me.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think, yeah, you make great points.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, but yeah, but I like Dean. I mean, I like Dean too. Dean was great.
I know,
I
especially
think he
in,
became a great character as the season progressed.
yeah,
Um,
the rewatch, it did give me, it made
yeah,
me,
yeah,
amend my opinions about
yeah,
Tommy this season. Like,
yeah.
Dina is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's one of those things where you don't see anything for Dean for 3 weeks if you're watching it live.
yeah,
And the one thing that you did get was him actually making a really dumb, like, splitting the votes in front of everyone. So that was just, terrible. But besides
yeah,
that, he's great. Yeah.
yeah, like good strats
But
and
yeah,
all
I
that.
like Xander. I think Xander's coming back. I think he'll probably be a returning player as well.
Oh,
Even
especially
yeah.
especially after that move.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah. He's locked
if
it.
there's like a
Even if he's the first jury member, he's coming back.
if there is like a top five moments of this season,
Uh,
that's definitely on there. Right now, that's like my favorite moment of the season because it's
yeah,
like it
yeah,
was so great where
yeah.
like, and then Evie was like, she's like, I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone, but she
Mhm.
didn't, and
Yeah,
like,
that was I was just like, oh my gosh, Xander is just betting it all. He's gonna keep going.
in the amount of like
And
confidence.
honestly, it works. Like I think it's smart to not play your idol on her. Actually, I don't think as Xander, I don't think you want to save Evie. Like Evie has shown that she will cut Xander if she can.
Yeah,
And she even said like I
I
wouldn't
don't
have
think
played the
it's,
idol for him. Um, so I
but
think it's good. Just keep it. If she did go home, you just play your idol next time, and it's whatever.
yeah, he's an adaptable chap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
Cool.
is
Cool.
pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
That pretty much does it here. Yeah. This is interesting too because this we don't usually get a record the same day after we just watched it.
I know, yeah. It's just I'm glad it worked out that way. Yeah. So people at home, Ryan, November has become a busy month, and for Joe as well. But like, so next week, or so like, I'm not gonna get into much of it though. So like next week, if the video is even later than it's usually been,
Mhm.
that's kind of on me for because I booked something. But I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say
which
much. But
you shouldn't
I'm
be
based.
you're like moping about like yeah I like book
Well, I
something.
mean, because
You should.
I don't want to let down you guys. Like, but I mean, I wouldn't mind like filming there while I'm on set, but we're
Mhm.
kind of like being in a place where they're like their internet might not be
Yeah,
there in a sense, and so
yeah.
like I can't be like
Yeah,
fully like
yeah, it's better wait an extra day or two so that way we can make sure it's good quality for you guys out there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week or Sunday of the week. We will see you when we see you, but there will be another episode
Yep.
for before the other one.
Yep, exactly. We're almost done, honestly. There's only 12 episodes this season.
Yeah, wait, in general, there's
Yeah,
no like
they revealed that there's only 12 episodes.
hold up. Well, I guess we're not gonna have like an premature outro.
Yeah.
Um, wait, only 12. Does that include? All right, now does that include the finale
I
slash?
believe so. I believe that they said that they were only doing 12 episodes for the season.
Now, are they also including the finale and reunion as one episode? Because
No
they
idea. I assume not. I assume the reunion is like that. It's that it's the tag of it of the episode.
okay. Well,
And in
that kind
fact,
of
I mean I know that they are revealing who wins on location. I know that that's already been announced.
okay. Then there might. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so who knows?
There could be surprise.
Yeah. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just stuff that I've heard from the socials. Everyone saying that there's something.
Oh, all right.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
well, yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Day After podcast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
peace out, guys.